He said every cat should be able to carry its own claws. That security didn't come from the city wall, but from the courage of each individual to sharpen them. It was the kind of speech that divided Catropolis. For some, a symbol of feline freedom. For others, an invitation to chaos. And the cat? Oh, he was a good performer. Every time he climbed onto a box in the middle of the square and meowed about independence, crowds gathered. Some waved flags, others just waited for the next scandal. His motto was simple: free claws, strong cats. And with that, he became the spokesman for a generation tired of depending on the government of City Hall, which in Catropolis means depending on whoever controls the fish stock. But the louder he meowed, the heavier the air of Catropolis seemed to grow. Debates turned into fights, arguments turned into divisions, and every fish thrown into the market came with extra spines. Still, the cat pressed on, convinced that his words were merely ideas, not weapons, until the day a claw found him first. What happens when the talk of freedom becomes the trigger for a meowing war? When the city that defended sharp claws discovers the true cost of using them? And if you believe that stories like this deserve to be told without filters, subscribe to the channel now. Here, every fish is a metaphor, every cat a lesson, and VisionCat is just beginning to dive. Catropolis had never seen anything like it. The cat took the stage with the confidence of someone who knew exactly what the audience wanted to hear. Not truths, but fresh fish of indignation. Each speech was a spectacle. Microphone in paw, sharp gaze, short, precise sentences. He spoke of freedom, of the right to defend one's territory, and each word was applauded as if it were music for a crowd hungry for confirmation. Soon, he was no longer just a cat with an opinion. He became a symbol. His meows crossed digital oceans. On every corner of the internet, there he was, cut out, remixed, dubbed, and reposted. He became a sticker, a parody, a comment thread. In Catropolis, no one talked about ideas anymore, only about him. And the more controversy, the more fish. Debates, once spaces for exchange, became arenas. The public no longer watched to understand. They watched to win. Those who agreed with the cat threw goldfish in droves. Those who disagreed, sharp spines. The clever algorithm served up more of the same, anger tempered with emotion. And the more heated the speech, the larger the flock of followers. It was the era of viral meows. Every line was a video cut, every pause, a hook for shorts. He understood the game and played it better than anyone. The people want a hero? Then watch me roar, he seemed to say with his eyes. And roar he did. On boxes, on shows, on social media, a cat against the system. But what happens when the show never ends? When the audience no longer knows where the character ends and the real animal begins? Because in Catropolis, the louder the meowing, the harder it was to hear what was actually being said. And it was in this noise that the stage began to transform into a platform, and the show, in battle. It was another day of speeches in Catropolis. The sun reflected off the windows of City Hall. The audience filled the square, and the cat took the stage as always. Microphone steady, confident gaze, that same glow of someone who believed he was changing the course of the city, one claw at a time. He began to speak about freedom, the right to protect oneself, the price of living without fear. Each word drew applause. Each pause became an echo. But this time, something different hung in the air. The silence between one sentence and the next seemed heavier, as if the city were breathing instinctively, waiting for the next meow. And then, amid the chorus of applause and shouts, a dry sound cut through the wind. For a second, no one understood. The microphone dropped. The goldfish of applause turned into a thorn. The show was over. Catropolis froze. The cat who preached the power of claws was silenced by one. The square turned into a statue, its eyes fixed on the empty stage. Irony or tragedy? Perhaps both, because he died defending exactly what he believed in. And the city that listened to him discovered, too late, that some ideas are so sharp they end up hurting even those who hold them. Wields. The news spread through Catropolis faster than a school of frightened sardines. Within minutes, the squares were filled, not with silence but with screams. Half the city wept, the other half celebrated as if the tragedy were a scoreboard. The empathetic fish disappeared from the markets. What remained were sharp bones thrown from one side to the other. Each group claimed to defend the truth, but no one wanted to hear it. The rooftops became courtrooms. Cats in collars shouted, "It was the social media's hatred," while those in caps responded, "It was deserved." Timelines buzzed with theories, montages, analyses, and exclusive scoops. And what was once mourning became entertainment. Live streams, cuts, reactions. Everyone meowing in real time, transforming a cat's body into a stage once again. Catropolis didn't want to understand what had happened. It wanted someone to blame. And the more it searched for someone, the more it fueled the cycle. One meowed intolerance, another roared justice. With each thorn thrown, the debate sank deeper. The algorithm, that unscrupulous fisherman, cast its net and reaped engagement. Anger is a big fish. And all the while, the cat's spirit, or rather the echo of its voice, seemed to hover over the city. It had always said that freedom was the right to meow without fear. But now, every meow sounded like a threat. In Catropolis, no one talked anymore. They only screamed at the clips. And worst of all, no one realized that the sharper the claws, the more fragile the fabric of the city itself became. City. In the end, Catropolis didn't need more claws. It needed breath. Because what killed dialogue wasn't a single claw fired, but thousands sharpened silently on digital street corners, in conversations driven by pride and anger. Words, once fish that fed the city, became projectiles launched without aim. And the debate, once a plaza, became a shooting range. Today, every cat walks armed not with claws, but with ready-made opinions. Every sentence is a thorn waiting to be targeted. And no one realizes that when ideas become weapons, no one emerges unscathed, neither the shooter nor the speaker. Noise overcame reason, and freedom became noise. VisionCat watches in silence, because understanding what happened in Catropolis is understanding what could happen in any other port where pride trumps common sense. Tomorrow, another story will emerge, another meow, another battle, another fish at the center of the chaos. And once again, the same question will remain. How far can a word go before it becomes too dangerous to speak? Now, if you want to understand the next noise that will echo in Catropolis, click on the video that is appearing on the screen. He begins exactly where this story ends.